To paint the picture, like, I have a shaved head, I'm covered in tattoos and scars, many of them are of swastikas. No one could mistake what I was about. That was plain as day. A coworker who sees me hungry is like, hey, skinhead, you look hungry, bro. You want to share this sandwich with me? Like, and he's black. So I go and grab this sandwich from him. And he doesn't bat an eye. He just goes back to eating the rest of his lunch and talking about the Packer game with our other coworkers. So now, like, this little act of kindness is threatening this whole identity that I concocted for myself. I grew up in a nice house in a nice neighborhood. I never went hungry. I never took a beating. My parents were together. They both loved me very much. But there was alcoholism on both sides of my family. And the alcoholism created some emotional violence in my house. As a kid, it really hurt me to see my mother suffering, and I started lashing out at other kids in response to that. My antisocial behavior escalated from being a bully on the school bus in kindergarten to fights in the schoolyard to breaking and entering, and that's who I was when I heard white power skinhead music that told me the reason I was hateful and the reason I was violent was because I was a white warrior fighting for my race, which was in danger of extinction. To 16-year-old Arno, it was literally music to my ears. Along with some friends of mine who were also angry, violent white kids, we started our own white power skinhead gang. Within 6 months of starting this group, my best friend went to prison for shooting a kid that came to do a drive-by on our house. In early 1994, my girlfriend and I broke up, and I found myself a single parent to our 18-month-old daughter. A couple months after that, a second friend of mine was murdered in a street fight, and it finally hit me that if I didn't change, death or prison was going to take me from my daughter. When I left the white nationalist group, and you have to understand, when you do something like that, you have this huge hole in your life. It's the only way you know how to think. It's the only way you know how to interact with the world. It's the only friends you have. So when that's all gone, it's a really scary time. And I was very fortunate that my one friend, who was not a white power skinhead, first of all, like, remained my friend and took me in. And I would hang out with him every weekend, and then on Saturdays, he's like, hey, dude, we're going to a party. It took me a while before I was finally so lonely that I was like, okay, dude, let's go. And I went to this party, and here I am, about a year and a half removed from being someone who would attack people because of the color of their skin. And I'm shaking my butt to house music in this dilapidated roller rink, surrounded by like 3,000 people of every possible ethnicity, gender identity, sexual orientation, socioeconomic background, nationality you could possibly imagine, and loving every minute of it. I've had all my swastika tattoos covered up by now, but back then I still had big giant swastikas on my arm. It said white power. And every single person I met in that rave scene was like, you're not like that anymore, you're here now, so you're cool. Like, they embraced me, they forgave me on the spot. There were very brave people who refused to play by my rules, which I wanted to be hostility and hate and aggression, and instead they dictated the rules of engagement to me. I literally experienced the reality of genuine, unconditional spiritual love and connection between thousands of human beings in one place at one time, and it carried over into the rest of my life.